So I have a question for you. What's the worst part of mathematics for most students? In my experience, the answer is, that's right, fractions. Most students want to use decimal form instead of fractional form, but in a lot of cases, the requirement is that you have to use fractions. And in a lot of cases, fractions will tell you something about the problem that you might not get from the decimal form. Anyway, let's continue. Suppose that you have a test and you get this problem. Okay, so you got a regular fraction there on the left. In the middle you have a mixed fraction, and on the right you've got an improper fraction. In other words, the numerator is bigger than the denominator. Suppose the only calculator you had is this old 4-banger calculator. It does have a solar cell at the top, so that's kind of nice. But it only has add, subtract, multiply, divide. It also has percent and square root, so we'll give it that. Here's what you would do to solve that problem. You press 4, and then you hit the divide key, and you hit 13. So that's 4 over 13. Hit the plus sign. Now hit 6 plus, because 6 and 5/7 means 6 and 5/7, that's plus 5 divide 7. Hit the minus key, and then hit 45 divide, and then 3. And when you're done with that, you hit the equal sign, and lo and behold, you get a number like this: negative 7.978 blah 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 blah. Okay? So there's your answer. Wasn't so tough, huh? But then you reread the problem, and it says this: express your answer as a mixed fraction. So here's what you have to do. You take the problem, and before you can add all of this stuff up, you're going to have to put it into improper fractions. You could do it other ways, but this is the way I'm going to do this one. So we're going to convert everything to improper fractions. So that middle fraction becomes 47 over 7. That's 7 times 6 is 42, plus 5 gives you 47. So there are your 3 fractions in non-mixed form. They're not all improper fractions. The first one's a regular fraction. But we can't add them like that. We have to get a common denominator. So since these are all prime numbers, we're just going to have to multiply them all together. And so we get 273 as our common denominator. So we have to make each of those fractions into a common denominator. We convert them so that they have common denominators, and then we can add and subtract them. So the first one is the denominator is 13, so we have to multiply it by the other two things. 3 times 7, which is 21. But we can't just multiply by 21. We've got to multiply the whole fraction by 1. So we multiply it 21 over 21, which is 1. In a similar way, the second fraction we multiply by 39 over 39. And the third fraction we multiply by 91 over 91. That gives us 84 over 273 plus 1,833 over 273 minus 4,095 over 273. And so when we take 84, add 1833, and then subtract 4,095, we get negative 2,178, and all of that over our common denominator 273. So now we have to convert this into a mixed fraction. Well, how do you do that? Well, you take the denominator and multiply or divide it into the numerator. So we're going to do a long division to do that. We take negative 273. I'm going to include the negative here. We could just save it for later and put it on at the end, but I'm going to put it in here. So negative 273 goes into 2178 how many times? Well, the answer is negative 7. You could use your calculator to help you with this. All right, then you multiply negative 7 times negative 273. What do you get? You get 1,911. Subtract that from 2,178, and you get 267. That gives us a remainder of 267 over 273. Well, the question then becomes, can this be reduced? And the answer is yes, it can be reduced, and it may take a little bit of trial and error, but you will find that both are divisible by 3. So let's divide top and bottom by 3, and we get the reduced fraction of 89 over 91. So the final answer is negative 7 and 89 over 91. And when you put that on your paper, you'll get all the points, and you'll get a gold star. Wasn't that fun? Now you can do all of that if you really, really want to, or you can get a calculator that has this button. Yes, there are calculators that have a button that will treat numbers as fractions, and there are a lot of them out there, and they're very inexpensive. So let's magically add that button to our 4-banger calculator, and let's see how that works. So start with the problem that we had before, and here's what you would do with a calculator with that button on it. You say 4, this fraction button, 13. So now the calculator knows that you've got a fraction of 4/13. So it's going to do all of the internal addition, subtraction, and common denominators and everything with that fraction. Hit the plus sign. Now we hit 6, fraction button, 5, fraction button, 7. So now it can do mixed fractions. Isn't that nice? It can do the whole number on the outside and the fraction on the right. Hit the minus sign, and then we hit 45, fraction button, 3. So it also can handle improper fractions. And when we hit the equal sign, here's what we get. We get negative 7 with a separator symbol, 89/91. So it does all of that work that we did in the previous couple of slides, and it does it in one very quick step. Isn't that much easier? So here's the calculator that I normally use, and it's a Texas Instruments TI-30X2S, and it costs about $15 or $16. And I always tell people, you know, I can get this one that has a whole bunch of functions on it for that amount of price, or for that amount, when back in 1973 or so, I got my first scientific calculator that cost me about $150. So times have changed. So let's take a look at one part of this calculator. Right here, you'll see that we have that button. Isn't that nice? So we can use the TI-30X2S to do fractional problems. But it also has this button. And what this does is this will allow us to take answers that are in mixed fractional form and convert them to improper fractions, and back and forth. So we can take an improper fraction and convert it to a mixed fraction. So it's a really interesting capability. Of course, you have to hit the second function to get it to do that. But we're not finished. There's one extremely interesting magical function on this calculator, and that's right here. And what that does is that will take a fraction and convert it to decimal form. Well, you might think, well, any calculator can do that. But going the other direction, D to F, it will take a decimal number like, oh, I don't know, 1.25, and when you hit that button and hit enter or equal, it will convert it to 1 separator symbol 1/4. So it will figure out what the decimal number is and put it back in a fractional form. And it's really interesting. You can do some very complicated decimal numbers, and it will do that. It won't do it with all numbers. If you have a long repeating string, it won't do that. But some of them it will do. So I highly encourage you to go through your booklet that comes with your calculator. Some calculators you have to go online to get the booklet. And for instance, on this calculator, there's a teacher's manual online that has lots of problems that you can try. So my recommendation, whenever you get a calculator, is go through the booklet and try all of the problems, even though you might not be familiar with probability or permutations or things like that. Go through it and learn what each one means, and you'll really have a great time with your calculator. So thanks for watching, and as always, read the manual.